Hey, welcome to Plant Summary Therapy, and today I'm going to take you on a gardening tour of one of my favorite garden centers. But this time I'm going to talk about prices, so you'll have some idea about the approximate cost of these plants in case you're going to buy these plants or planning on buying these plants. What I'm showing you now is my city of Honolulu, Hawaii. Aloha. That's the proper way of saying aloha from Hawaii. The view that you're seeing is the city of Honolulu from Ala Beach Park. This is probably one of the most expensive areas to live. I work in Honolulu, but I live in the suburbs on the west side off the Ewa Plains. The prices that I'm going to show you from the garden store in my neighborhood is just an approximation. The prices in your area would be different because everything in Hawaii has to be shipped here. So everything here is a little bit more expensive. Well, a lot more expensive. This is my favorite garden store. After I drop the grandkids off from school, I run by Starbucks and then I come here and I just wander around the garden center and just think, and sometimes I buy a few things. These are orchids. These are probably one of the easiest orchids to care for, and a lot of these are moth orchids, but they're basically the same. Recently I've noticed that these moth orchids, or these orchids, now come in these small little versions, and I was excited because I was thinking, oh, they're smaller plants, they'll be less expensive. But nope, they're about the same price. And I figured, okay, I'll just put a bunch of these on a totem, but when I priced them out, it was gonna be over $100. So when I do buy these orchids, I'm gonna have to have time to make sure they are cared for. Anthuriums are another flower associated with Hawaii. They grow them in all the islands, and they've been coming up with a lot of different colors. I saw one that was so maroon it looked black, and those sold out fast. And I saw one on the internet that looked gold, but you can't really trust anything on the internet. Care for these flowers are exactly the same as orchids. I treat them just as an orchid. I pot them in the same potting mix. I water them the same. I keep them out of direct light. Another flower that is associated with Hawaii is the hibiscus. The yellow hibiscus is Hawaii's state flower. Now, I wouldn't keep an hibiscus for an indoor plant because in Hawaii we have the weather to keep the hibiscus outside, and the hibiscus needs a lot of light to produce a flower because it takes a lot of energy for a plant to produce a flower, and they get their energy from the light. If I lived in the US mainland or in a temperate climate, these plants would make nice indoor plants, but they will still require a lot of light. As for the potting mix, I'll probably use about 2 parts of potting mix, 1 part of vermiculite, not perlite, and wood chips. These plants like a lot of light, so they will photosynthesize a lot more and they will use more water quickly. Vermiculite will help aerate the soil, but it holds on to moisture. But these plants can handle periods of dry. I have a few friends that have hibiscus as an indoor plant, and they keep it next to the window, and it actually looks pretty nice. Without the harsh sun on the plant, the leaves looks greener and the flowers are bigger and brighter. So it would make a nice indoor plant. Another beautiful exotic plant is the bromeliads. The bromeliads are actually a large family of plants that come in a large variety of colors, and these plants are actually pretty huge. I don't know if you can tell by the video, but these plants are huge. It's about maybe a foot to a foot and a half in circumference, and I just love the colors of these plants. These will make excellent indoor plants because these plants have evolved as epiphytes under the canopy of forests, so it will thrive in indirect light. But these plants are so huge. I mean, they're beautiful, but they're huge. These big silver ones that we're looking at right now is about $24.98. these pink ones, which I think is really nice, is about $41.98 if I remember correctly. And I really considered in buying one of these because these plants are really nice. And this from Hilo, my hometown of Hilo on the big island of Hawaii. These silver ones, like I said, is about $24.98, and I like these plants, but I have no place inside my house to keep these plants. I have too many people in this house to have huge plants, but these plants will make nice indoor plants. The torch plants over here is $16.98, and compared to the ones in the front, these torch bromeliads are pretty plain, and even the yellow ones are the same price. I double checked, and if I were to get one this huge, I will get one of these huge ones in the front, but this price is kind of intimidating because, you know, I don't want to spend so much money on these plants. The care of bromeliads are about the same as taking care of orchids or anthuriums. They evolve to be understory plants under the canopy of forests. They thrive in bright indirect light. They like to be watered, but they don't want to sit in water. I would have the same mixture for their potting mix. Have a lot of vermiculite, less potting mix, more of the wood chips. When I think about bromeliad care, I think of orchid care, except in the bromeliads, they like water in that little pocket, that little cup in the middle of that their leaves. After years of searching, I finally found these red palms. These are called wax palms. I thought it was called lipstick palms, but they are wax palms. I found one a couple months ago for $375 on the other side of the island, but I wasn't ready to pay for it. And then I found these at the garden store, and it was $141, and I just bought one. I figure I'll just grow them. I found some earlier that was this tall, and these are $379 now, but this same exact palm I saw at another garden store for $798. It was ridiculous, but people will buy these palms. Earlier this year, I saw a landscaper plant a bunch of these palms in front of the state building, and then a month later replaced all of these palms with cheaper palms, and then I immediately thought that he stole these palms. But then, well, at least I hope they stole the palms, because I hate to think that they threw them away. I don't know which is better. It's like a politician. Is it better to think that they're, crooked or stupid? This is a Rhapis Palm, and I've heard this been called a princess palm. This would also make a really good indoor plant because it can tolerate low indirect light, but it's very expensive. I bought a Rhapis Palm. It was about $8, but it's very small. Even one twice this size would cost about $20. So I bought this one for about $10, and I repotted it, and I had really great hopes because this palm is actually pretty sturdy, pretty hardy, and pretty aggressive. I had friends that bought this palm and it didn't really do anything in the house, so they made the mistake of planting it in their yard, and now they can't get rid of it. I have a friend that pays a landscaper a couple $100 a month just to cut back these palms that are just threatening to take over her yard. This type of palm, if planted in the ground, can be as aggressive as bamboo. If you haven't taken care of any houseplants before, this is probably one of the best houseplants to start with. This is a Sanseveria. This is a snake plant. Not only is it one of the best air purifiers, according to NASA scientists, it is very easy to maintain and easy to care for. If you forget to water it, fine. It actually prefers, not being watered, and it can handle low indirect light. Another very easy plant to take care of is the ZZ plant, or the emerald palm, the aroid palm. I already made a video on this. This plant can handle neglect better than any other plant. This plant can handle being locked up in a dark closet for 6 months and still will survive. If you want this plant to look nice, don't do that. Water it when it needs to be watered, it prefers to be dry, and it's a beautiful plant. It can handle low light to no light. Another easy house plant that is supposedly easy to take care of is the Syngonium, or the arrowhead, and it comes in a variety of colors. It has this white variety, which is nice. It has a green one, which is, I think, is the original, and then it comes in this pink one too. This is a white one. I like this color better than all the others, and they're very affordable. I've bought a couple pink ones, but it's a challenge to balance the light versus dark, because the pink in the pink Syngoniums will come out when it doesn't have too much light. When it has too much light, then it'll turn into this brownish, meshed up kind of color. You can see the pinker color that is hidden in the inside leaves, but I've never got this plant to be pink. The Syngonium, or the arrowhead, also comes in the hanging basket, and it's pretty nice in the hanging basket. Another plant that looks similar but's not really related is the Caladium. When I was younger, this plant was sold as the bleeding heart. My grandmother had several of these, and they grow well in bright indirect light. If you don't have enough light, these plants will get smaller leaves and looks a little spindly. But if you have enough light, look at the colors that comes out. I mean, the beautiful splashes of pink and white on top of the green. It just looks really nice. And if you can't afford the bigger ones, the smaller plants are much more affordable. I like this type of alocasia better than the African mass. Even though the African mass will really stand out, this has a velvety look, and this will make a really nice indoor plant. This plant is a Calathea Triostar. It's a type of prayer plant, and it's a beautiful house plant if you can keep the leaves from not browning. It has these cream and pink and green colors that is just beautiful, but this plant needs I guess distilled water and a lot of humidity, and that's more than I'm able to provide for it right now, but it's a beautiful plant. Monstera plants are a very popular plant right now, and I didn't really like this plant when I was younger because it was growing all over my grandmother's patio. It's a nice plant, but it wouldn't be something that I'll buy. I saw that there were these variegated versions. I never saw them in Hawaii yet, but I would buy one of those. These make really good indoor plant. It has a lot of green leaves to photosynthesize inside the house, but I wouldn't buy one in Hawaii unless it's variegated. Begonia seems to be a very popular plant here. I see it on sale a lot. I see a lot of people buying it. I remember these as weeds growing wild in my grandmother's yard on the Big Island, and I can't get myself to buy one of these. Actually, I bought one to see if it'll last in the bathroom, and it can't handle low light as well as it can handle high direct light. Like the Monstera, the Philodendron Xanadu is a very popular houseplant right now. These plants can handle indoor conditions. They like bright indirect light. They can go a while without being watered. They prefer to be watered when they're dry. But if I had to choose, I would choose this philodendron. This one actually looks pretty elegant, the way it holds up its leaves, the way the leaves are shaped. I like the color of the green, and this is, I think, the Philodendron Hope. Yeah, I had my eye on this one for a while, but I don't have a place for it in the house. I bought this philodendron, and it was doing well in the house. This is a emerald. It has a long name in front of it. I'll type it out, and it does really well inside the house, except the cat loves this plant because they have the big leaves that move at the end of a long stem, and I think that's too tempting for a cat. This is a smaller Philodendron Xanadu, and I can already see my cat getting excited. And for those of you who have cats, a lot of these tropical plants are very poisonous for animals. This is a Fiddle Leaf Fig, and this is also popular as an indoor plant. I see this all over Hawaii. I wouldn't get this for indoors. I would probably like to get something more exotic. I guess exotic in the tropics is relative. What's really exotic to the tropics is probably sunflowers. I think sunflowers are very beautiful. They're a very striking plant. I wish I had a bunch of these sunflowers in my backyard. I wish my whole backyard were sunflowers. If they didn't die and just leave a lot of rubbish. But these flowers in the tropics is exotic. These are exotic plants no matter where you are. These are the Chinese evergreens, and they have been coming out in a lot of different cultivars with a lot of different colors, from silver and white to pink and red. And these have the stems that are pink. I like when there's more color on the leaves, but these are very nice plants, and these do well indoors. Rubber trees also make very nice indoor plants, and this is one of my favorite. This is the tineke. It's a beautiful rubber tree plant, and it just looks like watercolors. And then this burgundy one, if it's cleaned, the pores look like it has gold glitter on it. Thank you for coming along shopping at my favorite plant store. And this video started off kind of slow, but it ended in a sprint. It's a lot longer than I thought it would be. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's informative. I hope you can get some idea of how much these plants are going to cost if you're going to buy them. And, well, thank you very much. Like and subscribe. And aloha.